Hey there, YouTube. Just getting out here. So I wanted to talk about a couple things. So since I had been on the subject of cold steel knives and a couple things, I wanted to talk about two things about cold steel knives. I had mentioned about cold steel knives, and I had started this before and never got to finish it. I have a couple cold steel knives that I've had for a while, and these are still a couple of my favorite knives. So one, I have an old school SRK, cold steel SRK, when they used to use the carbon 5 or carbon V steel, however you want to look at it. This, back in the day when they used to make this out of that carbon V steel, and these were made in the USA. This is when they used to still make their stuff in the USA. Quality knife. I love this knife. This knife's been beat on, hacked on. I think we used this to pry a Humvee door open one time. You can see it's been used to pound on stuff. It's been sharpened enough times that it doesn't have its original buoy style shape that it did have. I've sharpened it down a bunch of times. I mean, it's been through the paces, and it stood up. Only thing I could say that's comparable to Elliott Williamson's Elmax. It's up there. This was some really tough stuff. Now, this is getting loaned out to somebody that's going on deployment because they wanted to borrow it. It's gonna make a trip downrange. Again, it went a couple of deployments with me downrange, so it's been its fair share of time downrange. This actually replaced, I had a Recon Tanto that got stolen, and this was a gift from my wife that replaced it. And I have a cold steel Spartan. I got this, I didn't realize how big it was when I ordered it. I really didn't pay much attention. I wanted a nice folding camp knife. I knew it was big, but I didn't realize it was this big. I wanted something that I could use. Everybody had bragged about how strong the triad lock was, and at the time I really didn't have anything that was a recurve. I wanted something that was like a kukri, but I didn't want a full kukri. So I got something that was kind of in the middle, and what I wound up with was damn near a kukri with a triad lock. I mean, it's a substantial chunk of steel, and I'm telling you right now, this is as close, with their triad lock, this is as close to a fixed blade as you're going to get in a folding knife. There is nothing. And then when it locks, I mean, I wish, if you look at how deep that notch is on that, and once it locks, you have to look how much you have to push to unlock that. So once it locks open, there's nothing. There's no play. The other reason that I like this so much is because there's no way that this knife is going to come out of your hand. If you look at the way this is designed, there's no way that you're going to lose your grip on this knife, no matter what you're doing. Also, surprisingly, as big as this, I have big hands, as we've discussed before. I have very large hands. This knife sits, you can't see it. It looks like a small pocket knife the way it sits. It's not deep carry. Like sometimes you get some of those deep carry pocket knives, and then you can just almost not, but it looks like a regular sized pocket knife, and then you pull it out and it's got the wave feature, and it comes open, and you've got this massive machete that just came unfolded out of your pocket. So so something else I wanted to discuss. Since I put my email address and phone number, and I've started getting texts. I actually got a text from a customer the other day, and they're sending me an actual kukri that I'm going to be sharpening, and we'll see that. I may actually put the kukri in the video. I'll text the customer and find out if they're okay with it. I know I've gotten a couple texts from viewers, maybe not subscribers, but viewers, that asking, do the guys at Ferrum Forge, do I get paid by the guys at Ferrum Forge for mentioning videos? No, I do not. They're just friends of mine. I like the guys. They're great guys, and they make incredible knives. So yes, I do mention them. The guy, Robert Bodiger, And I'm gonna pause this. There'll be a pause here in a little bit. He actually made a couple things for me, and I'm gonna go get him. He actually does leather work as well, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna show you a couple things he made for me, just because he's a nice guy. He made a slip for a pocket slip, so I could actually carry my Higo that I brought back from Japan. I brought him back a Higo. I brought Chris Williamson a Higo. Elliot. Andy Leonard from Nowpack Group, my friend Mario, who made the knife that we auctioned off. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anybody that I brought back Higos for. I brought back a whole handful of them for everybody, and I gave them back as souvenirs. My friend Mark, my friend Greg. And so, but we realized real quick is the Higos, they're slip joints and they're hard to carry. So, but there'll be a pause. But with these cold steels that have these big blades, and especially with this recurve, they're difficult to sharpen. They really are. If you don't know what you're doing. And as you can see, I've got this one sharpened. It's got a mirror polished edge. This one I did differently because at the time I did this one, I didn't have tools for it. What I did was, I did it differently than anyone ever would tell you you're supposed to do a recurve. I probably should start trimming this. It's wanting to come up and do its own little curly cue on the end, and we'll end up having to handlebar it, I think. Ever notice my videos are kind of weird? I used this, and I used the skinny end. I'm wondering if I should answer that. I usually don't answer the house phone. I have an answering machine. Take care of it. And I very carefully did it myself with this very, very skinny, thin piece of Arkansas stone and a small piece. I used 2 stones. I used something kind of like this. It's cool. And then used this to get a fine polish on it, and then I used my strops to finish it up. And now it's shaving sharp. You could shave with it. That's not how you should do it. There's ways to sharpen it. For people that don't have the money to throw in an Edge Pro or a Wicked Edge, you could be using a Spyderco Sharpmaker. I personally don't like the Spyderco Sharpmaker. What happens with the Spyderco Sharpmaker, and I'm actually going to pause here and I'll go get it and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So, but what happens is it gets sloppy. So I'm gonna stop here and we'll do a quick edit. No, I'm not wearing it. It is tie-dyed, but it's not just a tie-dyed hippie shirt. This was this year at Paris Auto Speedway, their Firecracker 30 shirts. They tried to make the shirts look like fireworks. So pause, and I'm gonna go get a couple things so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I do have a Spyderco Sharpmaker. I had it because I thought it would be convenient to have around, and then I realized I didn't like the results I got on it. I mean, I thought $55 for, you know, an all-in-one sharpening system would be something that would be kind of good. So with the Spyderco Sharpmaker, you get the base and you get 2 preset angles. You get a 30-degree back bevel and a 40-degree angle. And I mean, it's not a bad system. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad system. And I've seen people get really good results with it. I just don't like the fact that when you get the pieces in, there's some play in that, and I don't like the idea that there's any fluctuation in that. Now, what I will say, and the reason I do keep it around, is it does some things very well. Scissors, my wife's scissors, the kitchen shears. I don't necessarily want to do the kitchen shears on things. And then the fact that they are triangles, serrated edges, amazing. I personally don't like serrated edges. I don't like. None of my knives that you will ever see have a serrated blade. You're not going to see serrated edges come out of my pocket. You're going to see just a complete straight edge. I react from Dave Dang. So you won't see that. You could do this. You could do a recurve, this big deep belly on that recurve like that. But the problem you have is with these points, you wind up getting this. You wind up getting this wavy, chattery look to the edge, and you know, I don't like the end result that I ever got with a Spyderco. So your other option is you can get the Edge Pro or the Wicked Edge. Like I said, I don't necessarily see the benefit in spending what they want for the Wicked Edge, especially when you have to be so specific at where you put the blade in the clamps and things like that. With the Edge Pro, when I use it, as long as I get it on the plate against that back, I'm good. So, but the thing is, with the Edge Pro, you have the standard stones, and then you have these. These will allow you to get down in the belly of that recurve extremely well. Extremely well. Now, you could set your primary bevel with these. The problem you're going to have is you knock those corners off, and then, you know, the stones are expensive on these. Now, I've done some crambits and some reeve curves on the Edge Pro. I've never redone this, but I mean, the way I did it, it came out extremely, extremely sharp. But it took a very long time. I was very careful. I had it on the table, and just very carefully making sure that I was maintaining that angle and eyeballing, you know, laser micrometer eyeball, and there's some hiccups in there, and I mean, I know there are, but it's my knife. I wouldn't do that with a customer's knife. If a customer's knife comes in with a recurve now, they get put on the Edge Pro with the narrow stones. So somebody apparently really wants to get a hold of me. I'm old enough, I still have a landline. So it's recurves. Recurves are sometimes can be unique. Some of those really, really deep curve karambits, just sometimes they're just almost impossible to sharpen. They're more for design than they are more for show than they are for. I live right under the flight path for the Navy training school for the pilots. So yeah, a lot of times you can get these really deep recurves on those karambits where it's just that belly. They wind up being more for show than they are for than any useful purpose. I don't like karambits anyway. I don't think they serve a purpose. Once again, this we got kind of off on a tangent about how to sharpen these, but this Spartan it's a really good knife. That deep belly allows you to have some really good cutting power. It's been used a good bit. I actually carried it for work for a while until my boss was like, that's a little bit excessive to be carrying to work here on the base. It does have the wave feature. It snaps open really nice out of the pocket. You carry it in a pair of jeans and it pops open. It doesn't have G10. It's Grivery. It doesn't tear your pockets up too much. I had some other Cold Steel knives that were the G10. Cold Steel's G10 was notoriously grippy and just destroyed pants pockets. I think I had an American Lawman, and I didn't like the American Lawman as much as I liked my AK-47. And I sold my AK-47 to one of the kids at work because I didn't carry it anymore. It had gotten, you know, pushed over by some other knives that I carried more. And so I had a kid at work that really needed a good knife, and so I sold it to him for a really decent price, less than he was going to pay for a new one, and I sharpened it up good for him so that he had a decent knife. So Delaney, if you're watching, I hope it's still sharp, and I hope you're still enjoying it. Yeah, Cold Steel, like I said in other videos, Cold Steel knives are not a bad deal. And V Veteran, I hope I'm not hurting your sensibilities if you're watching, but the only issue I have, and because I sharpen knives for a living partially, is sometimes they come misground, and somebody like me that does sharpening, if the resharpening piece with it comes misground like that, can be a pain. Does it affect the use of the knife? No, V Veteran, you are right. It a lot of times does not affect the ability to use the knife. It affects the ability to maintain the edge on that knife after you've used it. That was the point I was getting at. So I have one other knife that you guys have yet to see. I mentioned in other videos, this is one of my other favorite knives. This knife doesn't get used. This is an older Puma, when Puma was still making some really, really nice knives. This was still made in Germany. This is a stag handled Bowie before they started making their Bowie knives in Taiwan. That Soligen steel. That's why they made razors there for a long time. But the sheaths on these knives were always so nice. So yeah, basically, that's it for right now. I'm gonna pause this and go grab those two things that Robert made for me, and I will be right back. And so you can see what Robert Bodiger is making, and you can see some of the prototype cases that he's making for some of his folding knives when he makes custom folders. Okay, and now this is the last of the editing, I promise. Like I said, I know these videos tend to get long, but I only do them every few days instead of like every day. So yeah, I went up, I got back from Ohio, I was talking with Robert, I went up and Robert was up there, and he had made me from leather with his mark on it a little pocket slip for my Higo. And I know you guys saw this, my Higo no Kami. I like this little thing. The problem that we realized real quick was they like to just slip open in your pocket. So now, thanks to Mr. Bodiger, I have a way, and it's kind of bent over because it's been in my pocket all day, because now I do carry it. But also, this was his prototype leather case. So now when you buy, if you are lucky enough to win the auction, when he makes a folder, you get one of these handmade, hand-sewn leather pouches. And this was the prototype. The new ones actually will come with this. Let's see if I can focus. There we go. With this, and it has his RB marker on it, as opposed to the black, which you don't get near the contrast. So shout out to Robert, pretty awesome. Now I have a place to put my Greg Berger driver. I've got a little case for my Greg Berger. Not that it needs it, it's just, I'm a geek. I'm sorry. You should see me in my Star Wars Jedi dressing robe. That's a bathrobe. I bought one for my daughter too. It's okay, I'm a geek, get it. But you got guns and knives, it's cool. It's cool to be a geek when you can defend yourself, right? All right, guys. End of the video. Once again, I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support that you gave to my GoFundMe, and just basically the support for my channel in general. I get comments throughout the workday. I have a crappy day at work and I see a comment on my YouTube videos, and it kind of just, you know, it cheers me up, and I answer back the videos, and it's a nice little break from the monotony at work. So I do appreciate it. So if you've made it through to this video, the end of the video, I do appreciate it. Oh, and to answer a question that I did get from someone, yes, I do monetize my videos. No, I do not really get paid. I don't know how many of you guys actually have YouTube channels. It takes a lot to actually get any money from YouTube. So I don't know if I'd ever actually get paid. I do the monetizing just kind of to see, it kind of gives you a feel for how many views you're getting when you can watch the monetization piece go up. So, all right, I'm gonna have to edit this all together and everything. I cobble it together and maybe take some of the stupid parts out. But all right, you guys have a good evening, and I'll talk to you later.